many spiritual traditions imagine a door beyond suffering, a place the ache finally stops. Different names, different maps, heaven in some, paradise in others, and in Buddhism, a tradition that begins by looking suffering directly in the face. That door is called Nirvana, the final exit, the place where the cycle stops and craving goes quiet. Different traditions, different words, the same deep human hope. Underneath all of them, that suffering doesn't get the final word. Now imagine you found that door. Everything you practiced, worked, every sacrifice led somewhere. The door is open, peace is right there on the other side, and you turn around because you looked back and you saw the still happening, beings still falling, still burning in the darkest corners of existence. Every single one who hasn't made it out yet, and you made a decision. You walked back in and you made a vow. You wouldn't leave. Not today, not in 1,000 years, not until every last being in every last realm of suffering walks through that door before you. In the Buddhist tradition, this being has a name, Kṣitigarbha, and according to that tradition, he is still there. He has never left. This is his story. Let's start with something that should bother you. His name means Earth Treasury, Earth Womb. He's one of the 4 principal bodhisattvas of East Asian Buddhism, alongside Guanyin, Manjusri, and Samantabhadra, China, Japan, Koreo, Vietnam. Centuries of devotion, countless statues, temple halls, roadside shrines, prayers addressed for over 1,000 years to this single figure. And as Buddhism became popular in the West, he got left behind. Scholars like Buswell and Lopez, whose Princeton Dictionary of Buddhism is one of the field's standard references, treat Kṣitigarbha as a major Mahayana Bodhisattva, especially central to East Asian Buddhist practice. Generations of practitioners across East Asia have grown up with him in their temples, at their roadsides, at the edges of their cemeteries. That silence in the West says something about how Buddhism traveled and what got left at the dock. His names shift as you move across Asia. Chinese, Dìzàng Pusa. Japanese, Jizo. Korean, Jjajang Bosal. Different languages, different visual traditions. The same vow underneath all of them. Tara, Guanyin, Padmasambhava. Figures who each redefined what compassion looks like. Every one of them pointing in their own way toward liberation. As the final horizon, Kṣitigarbha points somewhere different. In this tradition, he made compassion into a location. He chose the worst place in existence, and he didn't leave. Unlike many bodhisattvas, shown draped in celestial jewels, seated on lotus thrones, he's depicted in simple monk's robes, associated in East Asia with the monk prince, Jin Xiaojue, venerated at Mount Jihua as an incarnation of Kṣitigarbha himself. He looks like someone who belongs there permanently, not passing through. He carries a wish-fulfilling jewel, said to generate light in the deepest realms, and a staff with 6 rings, one for each of the 6 realms of existence. In the traditional account, the staff forces hell's gates open. The jewel illuminates the darkness it enters. Rather than destroying it, he doesn't come to eliminate where he's going. He comes to remain inside it. In East Asian traditions, he became the specific guardian of beings in the dangerous passage after death, especially those facing the hell realms, the moment when beings are most disoriented. most vulnerable, most in need of someone who made an active choice to be there. The sutra tradition records something else. Before Sakyamuni Buddha passed into parinirvana, he's said to have charged Kṣitigarbha specifically with the care of all beings across the long age between this moment and the arrival of the next Buddha, Maitreya, between the Buddha who passed and the Buddha still to come. He is the one, according to this tradition, who keeps watch. The vow in this account wasn't only made by Kṣitigarbha, it was received from the Buddha himself. To understand how a being arrives at that kind of commitment, you have to go back to two women, two mothers, two daughters, who descended in these stories toward the worst place in existence and came back carrying a vow that would never expire. The Kṣitigarbha Sutra, the central East Asian scripture about his vows, doesn't open with a cosmic deity descending from the heavens. It opens with a daughter who watched her mother die and refused to accept what came next. The setting matters. The Buddha teaches this sutra in the text's account in Triastriya heaven, a celestial realm he ascended to specifically to teach his own deceased mother. From the very first line, this text declares what it's about: death, parents, the kind of love that doesn't stop at the edge of a grave. The whole scripture breathes filial devotion. The sutra gives multiple past life stories of this vow being made and remade. Two of those stories live at the heart of everything: two daughters, two mothers, two descents toward hell. The point is clear. Before we even begin, this vow doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's renewed in these stories through grief, through devotion, through the refusal to abandon the dead. First story, a Brahmin's daughter. The sutra calls her the sacred girl. Her mother spent her life dismissing the three jewels: the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Every opening for practice turned away, every teaching refused. She dies, and in the sutra's account, falls into Avicii hell. Avicii, the deepest hell realm in this Buddhist cosmology. The name means without interruption.
No mercibrax, no moments.
Where the weight lifts, even slightly, the sacred girl sells everything she owns. She makes offerings to a Buddha of that age, known in the sutra as enlightenment flower samadhi. She meditates with complete devotion, directing every act of practice toward her mother's liberation. And through that practice, she reaches the boundary of hell itself. She calls across it a hell official. The sutra names him King No Poison, meets her at the boundary and tells her in the sutra's account that her devotion arrived here before she did. Her mother has already been released from that realm. She didn't need to descend. Her practice reached further than her body could. Her mother was already moving. The second story is harder. A woman named Brilliant Eyes. Her mother loved eating fish eggs. To modern ears, that sounds almost trivially minor, but in the world of this sutra, it points to repeated harm toward vulnerable life accumulated across years. She dies, condemned. Brilliant Eyes gives away everything. She commissions Buddha images. She dedicates every form of practice. She knows she receives a vision. Her mother communicates in the sutra's account that her daughter's practice found her, and then her mother is reborn as a child in the same household and dies again at 13 and falls again. Brilliant Eyes asks, Pure Lotus I Tathagata, the Buddha of that age. How long this cycle will continue? The answer doesn't soften anything. Many lifetimes of difficult rebirth still ahead. This is why Kṣitigarbha became so powerful. In East Asia specifically, in this tradition, his story doesn't begin with abstract compassion for all beings. It begins with a child trying to save a parent. In Chinese Buddhist culture, that landed at the deepest level. Filial piety, the love and obligation a child holds toward their parents, was already one of the deepest moral languages in the culture. Kṣitigarbha didn't replace that. He transformed it. What you cultivate through practice doesn't belong only to you, can be dedicated outward. Love for one mother became a vow for all beings. After the second vision, in the sutra's account, Kṣitigarbha stands before the future Buddha and makes the vow. It's often summarized in one brutal sentence: until the hells are empty, I shall not become a Buddha. In the world of this sutra, hell realms were not treated as metaphors. They were realms with names, with causes, with beings caught in karmic worlds, shaped by actions, habits, and harm across specific lifetimes. And Kṣitigarbha's vow in this tradition was never framed as being about a psychological state. It was framed as being about those places, those beings. The sutra maps the hell realms with unsettling precision. The harm done, the realm it produces, a cartography of karma. Not hell as a vague threat, but hell as a landscape, gates, officials, cries, consequences, and beings who cannot yet see the way out. The tradition imagines Kṣitigarbha moving through these realms, speaking with hell officials, standing beside beings most people would rather forget. Imagine a being who caused harm until cruelty became habit. In this framework, they didn't arrive because a creator God condemned them from outside. They arrived through consequences shaped by their own actions. And before they can see a way through, the tradition holds Kṣitigarbha is already there. He doesn't explain. He doesn't lecture on what went wrong. He stands beside them. Now imagine another being, someone who harmed through confusion, fear, or blindness, a different cause, a different story, the same darkness. In this framework, Kṣitigarbha makes no distinction between those who seem to deserve his presence and those who don't. Every being in a hell realm arrived through karma, shaped by ignorance, the cruel and the confused, the deliberate and the lost. He walks beside all of them. Even in Avicii, the deepest realm the tradition holds, his vow reaches there, especially there. One distinction worth holding onto: in this cosmology, hell realms are temporary. Beings exhaust their karma and eventually move on. Kṣitigarbha doesn't overturn that process. He doesn't cancel what was done. He's not there to erase karma. He's there so it isn't endured alone. And that matters more than it sounds. Pain is one thing, abandonment is another. Kṣitigarbha's vow in this tradition answers that second wound. Every being in every hell realm counted, witnessed, not alone. In Chinese Buddhist devotion, practitioners call his name Namo Dìzàng Pusa. In Japan, the same devotion becomes Namu Jizo Bosatsu. Can be a prayer, can be a plea, but deeper than that, it's recognition, not magic, not a transaction. Recognition. People say his name in hospitals, at graves, in the years after a loss. when the grief stops being acute and becomes simply the permanent texture of a life in the middle of the night when nothing terrible is happening, but something that happened a long time ago still hasn't resolved. Namo Dìzàng Pusa, an acknowledgement that wherever the darkness is, someone in this tradition chose to remain, and that refusal to leave when leaving would be easy leads to the question the vow was always going to raise, the one nobody wants to ask out loud. Taken literally, hell is never going to be empty. That's the impossible pressure built into this vow. Not because Kṣitigarbha isn't trying, because in this cosmology, beings cycle through
existence endlessly.
New beings generate new karma. New karma produces new consequences for every being he walks beside. Through the darkness, more arrive. Behind them, he is bailing out an ocean with a cup. He understood this when he made the vow. He knew exactly what he was committing to, and he keeps bailing. Taken literally, the vow creates a paradox. At the center of everything, if suffering keeps arising, if beings keep cycling through samsara, generating the karma that produces the consequences, he's committed to keeping watch over. His work never ends, which means he never becomes a Buddha. One of this tradition's great figures of compassion made a vow that indefinitely defers his own liberation. Different traditions handle this differently. Some read the vow as directional, commitment so vast, it functions as an orientation rather than a contract, a compass more than a deadline, a vow that shapes every moment of how he moves through existence, even if its technical completion never arrives. Others take it completely literally and find it more profound for being impossible, not less. Read almost like a koan. The vow gets stranger the longer you hold it. A vow that cannot be kept is not a failed vow. It is a vow that keeps you. If enlightenment were something you could achieve and then retire into a state you enter and seal behind you, it would be smaller than compassion itself. Remove the impossibility and the whole thing collapses into something lesser. Kṣitigarbha's answer to any offer of easy withdrawal is his entire existence. In this tradition, he refuses any peace that requires leaving beings behind, and there is always someone behind. The vow isn't a strategy, it's a declaration of what he is. Kṣitigarbha doesn't keep watch in hell because he believes he'll empty it. He keeps watch because the alternative is abandonment, and abandonment is the one thing the vow makes impossible. The impossibility isn't a flaw in the vow, it is the vow. And somehow, across 1,000 years, across an entire ocean, that declaration found its way into something very small, a knee-height stone figure standing at the edge of a Japanese road, wearing a red bib, pinwheel spinning beside it in the rain. If you've been to Japan, you've seen him. You walked past him at a cemetery entrance, at a mountain pass, at the edge of a trail where the stone has worn smooth from decades of rain and reaching hands. His bib faded, a small stone freshly placed in his lap by someone whose name you'll never know. You saw him, his name never came up. The Bodhisattva of infinite hell realms became, in Japan, one of the most intimate spiritual presences in the entire culture. protector of travelers, guardian of children, witness of the dead, from infinite to knee-height, from Avicii to the edge of a country road. Before we go further, it's worth saying, what comes next touches on child loss, and it may be difficult to sit with if that's close to your own life. The practice is called Mizuko Jizo. Mizuko, water child, is the Japanese term for a life lost to miscarriage, stillbirth, or early death, a life that began, then vanished, before it could unfold. In some Japanese devotional traditions, people understand these children as vulnerable in the passage after death, not guilty, not condemned, vulnerable. In one popular Japanese Buddhist legend, children who die young face a particular ordeal on the bank of the Sanzu River, the river the dead must cross. The legend says they must pile stones, one by one, as an offering for the grief they caused their parents by leaving too soon. Every time the pile nears completion, demons knock it down. The child begins again and again, without end. In the same legend, Jizo walks to that riverbank. He gathers the children into his robes, shelters them from the demons, and carries them through what comes next. When they cannot walk, he walks for them.
Parents come.
To his statues, they dress him in red bibs, because red is the color of childhood in Japan, the color you put on a living child. They dress the stone the way they would have dressed the child they didn't get to dress. They place pinwheels beside him so their child has something to play with, and the stones, each one placed in a Jizo's lap, is the stone their child no longer has to carry. A weight transferred, the ordeal interrupted, a name said out loud, finally, to someone who would listen without flinching, without offering a solution that doesn't exist. Without looking away, Jizo statues stand across Japan, so many that once you notice them, you start seeing them everywhere. Many of them anonymous now, weathered beyond their original features, standing at crossroads that no longer exist, in cemeteries that have grown up around them over centuries, still wearing their bibs, still holding their stones, still there. The Bodhisattva of infinite hell realms is also, in this tradition, the small stone guardian, collecting the weight of human grief, one red bib at a time. Infinite compassion and intimate grief aren't two different expressions of the same thing. They're the same thing, the vast and the intimate, the hell descender and the knee-height stone. In the rain, become one figure, one vow, one act of refusing to leave. Kṣitigarbha walked into hell, a choice in this tradition freely made, and the choice was this: I will not be free while others are suffering. His name means earth treasury, earth womb. The earth holds everything, the seed, the grief, the stone, the rain. It gives itself completely to whatever falls into it, whatever needs it, whatever has nowhere else to go. Kṣitigarbha, in this tradition, is that quality, given a face, a vow, and a staff, with 6 rings. Somewhere right now, in a cemetery in Japan, a stone figure stands in the rain, parent placed, a red bib there, maybe last week, maybe this morning. That parent didn't need a theology. They didn't need a map of the hell realms or a doctrinal argument. They needed to know someone was keeping watch over their child in the dark. Kṣitigarbha, in this tradition, said yes to that, without condition, without end, to be seen, in that darkness, by someone who chose to be there. That is not nothing. It may be everything. Namo Dìzàng Pusa. Namo Dìzàng Pusa. Namo Dìzàng Pusa. Homage to the one who stayed. He isn't remembered in this tradition because he wins, not because he escapes, not because he solves hell, because he refuses to abandon anyone inside it. What does compassion actually look like when it refuses to abandon anyone? That's the question this figure keeps asking across 1,000 years, in a temple hall or at the edge of a quiet road, in the rain,